Did you know that Idaho stretches over 450 miles from north to south? And that's a lot of ground to cover. So today we're giving you the ultimate Idaho map tour.
Where is Idaho? What is Idaho? Where's everything located at? Where's the hospitals? Where's the shopping? Do we have shopping? Where is everything? Where's the airport? Well, we're Tammy and Heidi, and today we're going to talk to you a little bit about where Idaho is, where things are located, because every single day we have folks that are reaching out to us. They're wanting to know, hey, we're thinking about moving to Idaho. Should we go to Boise? Should we go to Coeur d'Alene? Where should we go? So we want to kind of walk through that today and help you out. And for those of you who don't know, Idaho is actually the 43rd state. Thank you to President Lincoln in 1890 on July 3rd. We actually became a state, so yeah.
All right, so let's dive in a little bit. So Idaho actually sits just south of Canada. To the east, you're going to have Montana and Wyoming. South, you're going to have Nevada and Utah. And to the west, Oregon and Washington. And now when we zoom in even a little further, we're even going to now divide it from northern, central, and southern. So our northern area, we're going to definitely be more mountainous. We're going to be heavily forested. We actually have over 140 lakes and a lot more snow.
Yeah, and when we're looking at the central part, that's going to be kind of the rugged terrain. They're going to have a smaller population. It's going to be a little bit more remote. So the folks that like to live there love that particular area, but it's definitely a lot more remote.
And then when we go all the way down south where Boise is, and that's obviously our capital, it's going to be a lot more desert, farmland. They're going to have hotter summers and more mild winters. It's going to be more urban and metro area. And let's begin. So we're actually going to focus more on the Pacific Northwest, farther north Idaho. So as we come all the way up, we're going to start in Boundary County.
Way up there.
Way up there, which only has two towns, Moyer Springs and Bonners Ferry.
And you are right close to Canada at that point. So there's a couple of crossings that you can actually get to from Idaho to Canada. So you're way up there.
Yeah.
And when we're talking about that particular county, it's pretty small still. There's only about 14,000 people that are there.
Yeah.
Surprisingly, they do have a hospital. So they have Bonner Community Hospital. It has about 20 beds. So there's definitely some services, just a lot more remote. And you're going to be about 2 hours from the airport.
Yep. So, and I can zoom out a little bit too, just to kind of put it into perspective. So when you're this far north, you're going to have to come all the way into Spokane, Washington, to hit the international airport there.
About 2 hours.
Yeah, about 2 hour drive. And then we are now going to zoom in on Bonner County. And so Bonner County is going to consist of the towns like Sandpoint, Priest River, Sagal, Dover, Hope, and the population there is going to actually be about
55,000 people there.
Yeah.
And the average home price, we're looking at probably around $600,000 in that particular area. And part of that for a little bit higher home price for average is you do have the lake right there. So you have beautiful Lake Pend Oreille, which has some pretty cool fun facts about it. So that was used back in World War II for submarine testing by the Navy. And to this day, they still do not exactly the same kind of testing, obviously, from them, but they do technology-based submarine testing. And it's the largest in the state of Idaho, so it's about 1,100 feet. I always want to say square feet. We do so much with square footage.
Yeah.
About 1,100 linear feet deep on that particular one.
Yeah, super deep. It's really big, as you can see. And now we're going to come down here, and I can kind of zoom out a little more south and hit Kootenai County. So Kootenai County is going to consist more of towns like Spirit Lake, Athol, Hayden, Rathdrum, Hauser, Post Falls, Dalton Gardens, and, of course, Coeur d'Alene.
And we don't want to forget that several years ago, Hayden decided that they would have Hayden and Hayden Lake. So the folks that are in Hayden Lake are very particular about their city of Hayden Lake versus Hayden. But in Kootenai County, we're going to have about 200,000 for the population. It is growing like crazy, especially in the Post Falls area. Man, I remember years ago well, a lot of years ago when I was younger, but years ago, we would travel from Coeur d'Alene to Post Falls, and it'd be like a 10-minute drive, and it would basically be desolate. And now it's every single day that we drive by. There's new housing developments. There's new businesses that are being built. There's tons of construction. We were doing some really cool things with the highway. The transportation department and the city and the county and everyone has come together, state of Idaho, and have just done some miraculous things with Highway 41 and that through there. So just growing like crazy. Average home price, we're looking about $550, $560 in Kootenai. So,
and then from the Kootenai County to the airport, then will only be about a 40-minute drive, and it's all freeway. Yeah. So super quick in that aspect.
And in Kootenai too, from a hospitalization standpoint, you know, again, folks that are reaching out to us all the time, they're like, hey, we're not sure which part of Idaho that we want to move to. For the folks that have maybe some medical conditions or some of the folks that are older, a lot of times it's super important that they have really good medical facilities. Kootenai Health is absolutely top notch. We talk about it in some of our other videos, but they've won numerous awards. They have their own cancer center. I mean, it's just an incredible organization all the way around. We have close to 400 beds also there at Kootenai Health. So really great.
And then we're actually going to travel now a little bit east and hit up Shoshone County. Actually, I'll zoom out just to make this a little bit easier.
Heidi's hometown.
My hometown. My home county, I guess. So Shoshone County is going to consist of like Cataldo, but Cataldo is actually unique. It actually falls in Kootenai and Shoshone. And then you're going to have, you know, Kingston, Pinehurst, Smelterville, Kellogg, and then,
They even have Page on the map.
I know. I saw it. And then Osborne, Silverton, Wallace, and go just a little farther. And Mullen will actually be the last town in Shoshone County before you hit Montana.
And so when we're looking at Shoshone, we're about 14,000 as far as population. And the average home price there is just under 300,000, about 290,000. So,
and then Shoshone, which we just call it the Silver Valleys, mainly because of all the mines that are over there, but it's going to be a lot more recreational. So in Kellogg, you're going to have Silver Mountain Ski Resort, and then just even 30 minutes away in Mullen, you are going to have Lookout Pass. And Lookout's really cool because when you're snowboarding down the face of the mountain, you can come in from Idaho to Montana, Idaho into Montana.
That's pretty cool. We had that famous snowboarder that came here not very long ago that was doing videos on our different mountains here.
Yep, he was hitting up Schweitzer's, Silver Mountain, Lookout, and then a couple over in Washington also.
And he was actually doing in and out of the states, which is kind of cool.
Yeah.
In his video, showing people that he could go in and out. So.
And now we're going to go just a little bit down 95 south, and we are going to hit up Benewah County next. So this is going to be towns like Worley, Plummer, and St. Mary's.
And you're going to have about 10,000 in population there. So this is, as you can see on the map there too, Coeur d'Alene Reservation.
Yeah.
So this is a lot of tribal land. And it is a beautiful part of the lake also, because people often think of Lake Coeur d'Alene, so they think of just in Coeur d'Alene. This actually runs through the reservation area, and there's some beautiful homes there. The thing that's nice about some of the properties there is it's actually usually on larger acreage. So a lot of times when we're trying to find homes for people that are right on the lake, you're going to get this little tiny area, not a lot of footage on the water, but a lot of these properties have a lot more, so that's pretty cool.
And then another cool thing about Benewah is you have Hayden State Park, which is actually Idaho's oldest state park.
Yeah, there's some pretty cool things there. You're going to be a little bit further out to try and get to the a little bit further to get to the airport.
Most amenities will be a little bit farther drive, even from Shoshone County. So you're looking about an hour and 15 minutes just to get to the airport or Kootenai Health. And then, yeah, same with St. Mary's area also.
Yeah.
But even as we zoom in, you can even see how I mentioned earlier, we have over 140 lakes. These are called the chain lakes right here, but we have a lot of lakes and rivers around here, which is super cool.
Yeah. People come from all over, not only the lakes, but we also have some really cool attractions. So we've got Silverwood Theme Park.
Yeah, actually, we want to show you that also. That's up in Athol, is actually the Pacific Northwest's largest theme park.
It's incredible.
Yeah.
How many attractions? Oh my gosh.
I think it has over 70 attractions and over 400 acres.
Yeah. And so they do not just the park, but it's pretty cool how they do for Halloween. Scary Wood.
Yeah.
That's a pretty cool thing. So people come from all over.
Yeah, they actually turn one of the roller coasters backwards so you ride it in reverse. And they have a whole bunch of haunted houses and stuff. It's super cool.
So when we were talking too about Shoshone in that Kingston, Pinehurst, Kellogg area, they do have a medical center. So it's Shoshone Medical Center. It's in Kellogg. They have about 25 beds there. So they do have some medical facility, somewhat of a medical facility. But again, for someone who really needs to be close to something kind of higher end, you're going to be driving into the Coeur d'Alene area. So you're going to be about 30 minutes or so. But even that drive, obviously, if it's a medical emergency, you're going to want to be there quicker. But sometimes folks are thinking, oh, I don't know if I want to be that far away if they're working in Coeur d'Alene or something. But gosh, it's really an easy drive.
Yeah, it's all freeway. And you do have to head over the 4th of July pass, but it's actually very well maintained. They actually have snowplows always sitting at the east and west side of the pass, always going and plowing it, and cameras at the top. So you can actually log into different pages and see how the pass looks for that day.
Yep. And then same thing in the Silver Valley. We have Cataldo, which has the Mission there, which is the oldest building in Idaho, which is pretty cool also.
You'll have to watch one of our other videos as we kind of hone into that aspect of stuff.
We don't want to give it all away today.
No, definitely not.
But it's just, there's so many different facets to Idaho, and even just in our Pacific Northwest and the Panhandle region. So we really want to make sure that we're articulating to people what these different regions are. They have a little bit different climates. Some of them are a little warmer. We get more snow, less snow. The last several years, honestly, we just have not got this. We definitely haven't gotten the snow that we've seen in years past.
Yeah, we actually have had the warmest winter in over 100 years here in North Idaho, which I don't like. I love the snow, so that's been tough on me.
But in the Kootenai area, you're going to have a lot more things. So we're going to have better shopping opportunities. Yeah. We've got like Costco. We've got theaters. We have the Raceway, Speed Track. We've got, again, Silverwood, like we talked about. So we've got much more of the entertainment side of it. And you get some of those little bit more remote areas, which a lot of people like. They don't want to have all those things there. So, there's definitely pluses and minuses to each of those. But we just want to make sure and let people know. So when they're reaching out to us, or if you folks are watching us right now and you're like, gosh, I'm thinking about going to Idaho, but where do I want to go? What does it look like? I hear potatoes, or I hear lakes, or I hear mountains, or
just farmlands. But Idaho actually has a lot to offer.
It really does. So again, if you guys are reaching out, if you're thinking about maybe making the move, or you're contemplating and want to know a little bit more about Idaho, we are definitely here for you. Our entire team is here for you. We want to just make sure that we can help you out in any way, shape, or form. And we're continuing to do videos on what you guys are asking us to do. Yeah. So we're trying to get to as many different cities and as many different places and do as many cool things as possible. Yeah. So whatever you'd like to see, just let us know. We're here for you. We're Tammy and Heidi, your North Idaho Realtors.